Hey there, Joel Turner with ShotIQ. We get a lot of questions about some of the techniques that I use for shooting my longbows and recurves. We put a lot of stuff on social media and people are like, well, your arrow's on the wrong side. How do you let go? What release do you use and all that stuff? Well, I shoot with my thumb. So it's just a finger tab. It's a piece of leather that goes over my thumb, and that wraps around the string, and then my finger wraps around my thumb. I usually have my hand closed, but there you can see the lock. That's what that's called, a lock. So with that technique, in some circles it is said that this is how archery began, was thumb shooting. It was for wartime. It was for mounted archery when the arrow was loaded from this side. It was taken out of the quiver while they're riding their horse with no hands essentially, and so you could actually load the arrow from this side. It was much more difficult to load it. And plus, when you held onto the arrow with your thumb and you put pressure with your finger against the side of the arrow, it held it against your bow while you were riding your horse. So all I've done is taken an ancient technique and brought it to the modern times with a different type of bow, same type of release. Arrow is on that side of the bow for a right-handed shooter. So my bows are custom made. They've got a right-hand grip, but essentially a left-handed shelf. So the arrow is on the right side of the bow. So when I load this arrow, it goes on this type of an arrow rest. Now, it took me like 13 years to figure out that when you shoot with your thumb, you don't need any side pressure. So hence, this is a 1980s style Hunter Supreme rest from Golden Key Futura. It's an old compound rest that I actually flip over so it creates the V. I do some modifications to it, but this arrow rest just works perfectly for this technique. So this arrow is loaded in here, and then my thumb goes around the string, and then I bump it up against the nock, and that's what creates the lock. So it looks like that. And when I'm shooting this bow, a couple reasons why I shoot this way. Number one, I just wanted a new challenge, but that was 13 years ago. I wanted a new challenge. Why do I stick with it? Well, it gives me 2 more inches of draw length. And so I got a lot more power stroke on the bow, and the sight picture is amazing. Because what it does is, normally in barebow shooting, if this was your eyeball and this is the back of the arrow, you're trying to get your eyeball 12 o'clock to the arrow shaft so that you're looking at it from the top. Well, as soon as you shift that to where your eyeball is at 10 o'clock on the shaft, now we get to see the arrow trajectory from the side instead of just from the top. So I'm looking at a ramp that's from the 10 o'clock angle, so I can see the trajectory path of the arrow much easier. And because the arrow is on the other side of the bow, I can still put the arrow point directly underneath the target. So it's what we call triangulation aiming. It is an amazing sight picture. Like I tell people all the time, if you could see what I see at full draw, you probably wouldn't shoot with your fingers anymore. But that's the way that I prefer to shoot. I do shoot all the techniques. I shoot with my fingers. I shoot my thumb on the, the correct side, if you will. I shoot like 6 different bows a day, compound, sights, no sights, whatever you want. I just love archery. So this technique is what I'm going to use for hunting this year, and it is amazing. So let's take some shots with it.